The absurd argument from the anti-gun crowd to melt all guns. Swatting, is it safety or a political tool? And our special guest, Braden Langley. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Was. The anti-gun crowd never seems to fail us when it comes to saying the most ridiculous things. So here's a clip of two people who seem to be very anti-gun, claiming that if we melted down all the guns, nobody would get shot.
Do you realize if we just took every gun that currently exists and melted it, and then we never made any more, no one would ever get shot to death again? And I feel that, but that's so childish, and I know I can hear the right-wing response to that, where they're like, well, that's impossible. And I'm like, but the thing is, it's so deeply possible.
It's so possible.
It's so deeply possible.
Right, well, it's not possible, and you're stupid for saying it. Now, the people who listen to you are now dumber for having heard that nonsense. Not only is it not possible in America because we have the Second Amendment that protects the right to keep and bear arms, but it's not even possible in communist countries because regardless of the government structure, people still get firearms. If they can't get firearms, they'll make firearms just like we did back in the 13th century. Another major dysfunction of this argument is the presumption that somehow if guns were eliminated, there would be no more violence. This is such a childish, immature argument because it comes from a place of ignorance, low IQ, and an unwillingness to see reality. Violence doesn't come from a gun. There's no such thing as gun violence, only human violence. Why do we keep having to say this and keep repeating this simple concept to them over and over again? I guess it makes sense because we have to continually tell them that there are only two genders. Another simple concept that they seem unable to grasp. Violence comes from the human being, which is why in the absence of guns, violent human beings will use other tools. They'll use knives, for instance, just like they did in London, where violent crime exceeded that of New York City. Yes, violent crime in London at one point exceeded that of New York City, which is a comparable city, and guns were banned. Isn't it interesting how the anti-gun folks are obsessively focused on firearms and pay zero attention to the fact that violence comes from people? At the same time, they want criminals let out of jail. They welcome in violent immigrants, and they want to abolish the police. It's an amazing concept, but when you've been brainwashed to the point that they have, you can't see the actual causes of violence because their brains have been overwhelmed with anti-gun propaganda. Their brains tell them that there's no other solution to violence than getting rid of the guns, which, by the way, will never happen. A big problem Second Amendment advocates have is that we're fighting a social battle with people who are unable to comprehend simple concepts like these liberals in this video. It's not the argument that we have a struggle with because their claims are easily debunked. It's the idea that there are other ignorant people who believe them. Now, this creates a portion of society who live in the delusion. They believe the most ridiculous things like less guns equal less violence or more gun laws will keep people safe. When we tell them it's the exact opposite because unarmed people are at a higher risk of being victims. They don't seem to understand the words because their beliefs have been structurally altered. It's brainwashing, really. It would be fine if they simply believed those things, but they vote. And because they're given the right to vote in America, regardless of their intellectual dysfunction, it puts our collective rights at risk. We're not necessarily fighting a battle for gun rights. We're fighting a battle for common sense and the freedom from media-driven psychological programming. So we're going to talk about this and many other things with, he believes the world would be a much better place if people weren't so dumb. John Chiara.
I guess.
And our special guest, he's a writer, Second Amendment commentator, and a no-compromise patriot, Braden Langley. How are you, buddy?
Oh man, I'm a little dumber. I'm a little dumber after hearing that. I'll be
Yeah.
candid with you, Dan.
Well, I want to
It's
hear
wild.
I want to get your comment. So you never saw that clip before, huh?
Oh no, no, no! I've seen that clip before. Oh, believe me, I've seen all of these clips. These,
Yeah.
these these clips are a dime a dozen. I mean, like not to take away from your exquisite
I
editing
got you.
and
I got you.
selection, but no, it's like you're talking to a wall. I mean,
Yeah.
Dan, I don't know if you're familiar, but if we just got rid of the sun, we wouldn't have any sunburns.
That's
I mean,
right.
is there really anything else that we need to address? Because sunburns are the leading cause of sunburn activity. Excuse me, sun is leading cause of sunburn activity. And if only we could get rid of the sun, we would have no longer the ills of sunburns in our society. Now, granted, the entire planet would die, but we would not have sunburns.
Right. Well, and then
I mean,
and the economy would die and the whole social structure would die if we got rid of cars. But we must get rid of cars because there's a chance that people will drive drunk.
and not to mention, Dan, you've got to get rid of the cows because cows are increasing global warming.
That's
And
right.
obviously, we're back to the sun again, the common culprit. So obviously, get rid of everything, and the people causing all the problem are the people. So if we just had less people, we would have less crime. This is who we're talking with right now. I mean, seriously, this is genuinely what we're dealing with. It's wild.
Well,
Wild.
and it's frustrating too because you and I are, and John, we're in this conversation so much in the political conversation, in the Second Amendment conversation, and when we hear such ridiculous things like that, like we understand, okay, some people might not be up on the current legislation or the current court cases or whatever. We understand that. Heck, sometimes it's hard for us to keep up with some of that stuff. But when it comes to common sense things like this, if you melt the guns, then nobody will. Why are you kidding
I mean, obviously.
me? John, what do you think? And John, by the way, this is Braden. Braden, John.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, John.
To meet you. Good. Well, this is just a smaller example of what I see people professing all the time. Well, if 8 billion people would just think like me, then all the things that I don't care about wouldn't matter anymore, and then everything would be fixed. It's just
We wouldn't have disagreements.
such self-important crap. Just
No, that's it. You just nailed it. That's it.
And one of the things that they really just don't realize when we start to get into the statistics of it all, when where there's more, we know this, where there's more gun restrictions, there's typically more violence because people can't defend themselves. But they don't see that. I think what happens is something happens in their brains where they get one narrative and they believe it, and which when you hear the same thing over and over enough, you start to believe it. And because if you don't hear anything else, which is why the political left keeps conservative ideas and information away from these people by telling them that, you'll be stupid if you go and you watch any of these conservative shows. They're just lying to you and all this stuff. So these people will, by default, they'll reject conservative information. And what happens then is they isolate themselves to only the left-wing crap. And they essentially brainwash themselves. Go ahead.
Oh, it's a silo effect. 100%, it's a silo effect. So this is the thing that I really, we've been dancing around this as we've been touching on this topic. The thing you have to understand when you're doing this, and a lot of people, I have this conversation a lot on our side, right? This is an us thing right now.
Yeah.
When you're talking to these people, you aren't going to convince them to go out and buy a gun tomorrow. What you're doing is you're highlighting the fallacies in their arguments, and you're undermining their entire point. They're never going to believe you, but that third, fourth, and fifth person who's hearing the conversation is going, okay, between these two, one of these makes sense and one doesn't. One is an emotional virtue signal, and the other is actually speaking logic, fact, and constitutionality. I mean, when you think of it in that manner, it's frustrating dealing with the people that you're talking to, because I do this all the time on my channel. I talk about this stuff all the time. I talk about anything and everything from a conservative perspective, where it's like, yo, I'm handing you all the receipts. I'm handing you 30 years of data. I'm handing you analysis. I'm handing you everything you need. And you'll still look at it and go, no, but I feel.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right. But I feel, Yeah, but I feel well. That's another thing when you're just in conversation with you. Well, I feel like this or I feel like that, rather than I think. It's funny when people you're in a conversation with somebody, they keep using the word feel, because you just brought up a great point. It really is. It tells you that they're emotionally driven rather than, well, 100%. I don't think it's like that. I think it's like this, or I think that way. You kind of know that the people they're actually using their noggin a little bit rather than their emotions.
Oh, maybe we should treat the feelings. Just thought of, when we were talking about this, I said, what if there was a high school course you had to take where you put on virtual reality glasses and you went into a dark alley somewhere, and somebody comes at you with a knife or a gun or something, and you're not armed and you can't get a gun. And you have all the information where I could have been able to defend myself, but I chose that all these things are the wrong things to do, so therefore I'm going to die. But nobody ever makes it personal like that. They don't put themselves in the situation where it matters to them, I think.
Or I voted for this politician who who created this gun-free zone, and now I'm in the gun-free zone. I can't protect myself. Boy, I wish there was someone here with a gun to help me.
Call the police; they'll be right there.
Right.
Well, the ultimate irony, though. Again, I mean, I know I'm speaking. I'm preaching to the choir right now. Like I know that I'm in the sweet spot, so this will resonate. It's the funniest thing in the world, where it's this perception of I'm so intelligent, I am so evolved. I don't need the violence of the past. We need none of these things. I am not a troglodyte. I am not a Neanderthal. I don't need a club to run around. Except, when I'm in trouble, I'm going to call the guy with the club. I mean, it's like, okay, guy. Like, so you don't need it because you don't want to carry it, but you want to call somebody who else does. You're outsourcing enforcement for your own safety. Great.
Yeah, exactly. They until it happens to them, and hopefully they will never be a victim of a violent crime. But until it happens to them, they can argue this all day long. No, I don't need a gun. I never need. It's just it really is. It is tough. It's tough to talk with them. I always use the analogy. You're in the mall, Christmas time, everybody's shopping, and everyone's carrying their bags of their gifts and stuff, and all of a sudden some crazy lunatic leftist comes in and starts shooting the place up. Well, what are these people gonna do? They're face down begging for their lives on the floor, while the guy with the gun is probably gonna hide around the corner and try to keep himself safe, and he's got a weapon, he's got a gun on him, and he's able to defend with this. Now the gun owner becomes their best friend, but until they have that experience, they're probably not going to ever appreciate it because they've been brainwashed to think otherwise.
Well, so this is such a good opportunity to do something that's so key, and I mean, we have a long show ahead of us, so we'll get into it more, but just introducing the concept, this is not unique to the gun world. So this is something that I think that we need to have a lot more conversations about, specifically inside the gun world itself. This is not a phenomenon that is only related to the Second Amendment. Like, look at immigration right now. Look at ICE. Look at any flashpoint you want. They have convinced people, and I'm talking about the liberals, the leftists, the emotional ones, right? Not the Democrat. I'm not talking about normal everyday Democrats who are like, oh, I have a different policy position. No, I'm talking about the septum ring, blue hairs, who will literally go out there and say, I'm doing something justified to stop the Nazi fascist. I'm on my way between voting for Graham Plattner in Maine, who actually has a Nazi tattoo for the Democratic Party.
But that doesn't matter.
I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to go ahead and virtue signal and do the good deed. Be the greater person. Be the change that I want to see. I'm going to go interfere with an active law enforcement operation using my car as a vehicular weapon. And then I'm going to be really upset when they don't respond positive to that. But I did the good thing. It's like, no, you're being used as a patsy and a manipulation to further propagandize other people, and you end up in a bad position. It is wild. But it's everywhere. It's not just guns. It's everywhere.
No, it's a worldview, right? They think that that's how the world actually functions, and that they're important enough where me going out and protesting is going to change something that I couldn't change otherwise. They don't do well. Thomas Sowell I put up a quote yesterday about the easiest thing in the world is to complain about something and do nothing. because you can never do it wrong because you're not doing anything. But now the protesters, and they go out there and they try to do something, and things happen that make complete sense because they're doing what they're doing, and they're blaming everybody else for it. Like, I don't know.
Well,
do they have jobs? Do they have responsibilities? What do they have?
Oh, no, they're at work. Don't worry. They're at work.
Right, they're at work.
They clocked in 3 hours ago. They've got a mandatory lunch. The unionization amongst protesting is really high these days. They've got a mandatory lunch. They've got to get to this. But I'll be right back on the picket line 14 minutes from now. Where's my paycheck? Oh, yeah, thanks.
Well, and that's you'll see them out there, and you'll see them getting interviewed and stuff, and they really don't have answers. They don't have a lot of answers. No. They're really just warm bodies out in the street to hold signs, and they don't seem to have any moral compass where they might think, well, this is wrong. I'm supporting something that's wrong. That's not good for the country or whatever. They'll do it just because either they're completely uneducated politically, or they have no morals to stand on anything, and it's just about the money. I wonder sometimes, are they really committed?
Or both.
or both, yeah. It's like, are they committed to this stuff, or is it really just, I think it's ignorance and a few bucks in their pocket. I really do. I don't know.
Well, that's part of it. But, here's a line of thought that I like to say. I like to say to my audience all the time. And I don't care where this applies. You apply this, your audience can apply this wherever you want. It doesn't matter to me. Inside the 2A community, outside, I don't care, wherever. If the main product that someone you're listening to is outrage, you need to find someone else to listen to. Because now what you're getting into is literally just emotional response, rage baiting, clickbaiting. You aren't there for a solution. You aren't there to fix something for yourself or the next generation. You're there for the constant dopamine hit of confirmation bias.
Right. You couldn't have said it better. That's exactly. It is the dopamine hit that they want.
Go ahead.
Let me go to one of our sponsors real quick. You want to know who's fighting for your gun rights? Gun Owners of America. Now, GOA is the no compromise gun rights group, so I urge you to become a member at gunowners.org. What have they done? Well, GOA secured a preliminary injunction against the ATF pistol brace rule. GOA members submitted a record 85,000 plus comments opposing the ATF's universal registration check rule. They helped enact permitless carry in Nebraska and Florida. GOA secured victories in California, Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Plus, they won 2 legal victories against the ATF's zero tolerance policy. And GOA fought to overturn Joe Biden's ban on funding hunter education, shooting sports, and archery in schools. So with the constant attacks on our Second Amendment, we often ask ourselves, well, what can I do about it? This is what you can do. You can become a member at gunowners.org and help us save the Second Amendment. We're here with Braden Langley and talking about just, I guess to sum that up, it would be the brainwashing that the political left is so susceptible to. Go ahead, Braden. What else? What other comments you got on that? And I want to get to another topic that you've recently been talking about.
Yeah. No. We got time, Dan. We're gonna have a party. Okay. So when you're talking about this brainwashing, right? I want to draw a very important distinction around something. Brainwashing is not exclusive to one individual party or political ideology.
True.
Right. Brainwashing is anybody. Right. That's why you've got the socialists, you've got the communists, you've got these far lefties, you've got these progressives, and then you got the Democrats, you got the independents, you got the Republicans, the MAGAs, the conservatives. And literally, there's 8 different groups that are all being propagandized in one way, shape, or form. That's just a reality of the mass media production environment we live in. Right. When you're dealing with the things that you're dealing with, you have to, again, I want to go back to this. You have a algorithm driven society right now. You have a news media cycle click society that is driven right now, and it's all a business model, and it's all meant to get your attention. So if the only thing that people are giving you is outrage, there's a reason they're giving you outrage. Because again, think about it from our perspective, right? What would be the benefit in the 2A community of just whining and complaining 24/7, but you don't have any Supreme Court decisions like Heller decision, like the McDonald decision, like the Bruin decision, like all the decisions we've seen recently. If we're not doing anything to fix the problem, what are we doing, right? And that's the same thing on the left. Are you just going to be protesting and screaming and your whole point is outrage? Well, if your whole point is outrage, Cool. Go over there, be outraged. We'll be over here saving the country. That's the biggest thing that I've seen. If you're just chasing outrage and all you're producing and consuming is outrage, you got to have something on the other end of that equation, because that dopamine, you will get fried and you'll just check out. To me, I don't know. That's my kind of take on that.
I would imagine that at a certain point you would just get overloaded and fried. And I think a lot of people might just like turn the news off at a certain point and realize that they're just angry all the time and they're not really accomplishing anything. I don't know, John, what do you think?
No, I don't know how you produce if you're outraged all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you're always looking for somebody to blame for everything that happens. Like, what kind of a life strategy is that? That's just nonsense. I mean, there's comfort in consensus. I get that. But man, some of these people are just, I have friends that in person, one guy specifically that I've worked with numerous times over the years, and he's mild-mannered and quiet and good worker and conscientious. And on social media, he's just insulting every second, mad about everything. And I'm like, dude, you're telling me on one hand how happy you are with your new girlfriend and your new house and everything's going well and your new job and you got your studio set up. And over here, wow, you're this and you're that. I'm like, what is that? I don't understand. I don't understand how it's productive.
Right, but and this you're getting into a very interesting phenomenon, and I think that if we on the, however you frame this, right, if you frame this in the finer tuned portion of the Second Amendment community, or you go broader to conservatism or republicanism or whatever you want to put the bucket in, right, you can apply this anywhere. The party and the team and the group and the special focus area that figures out how to leverage the frustration into action is the one that will win.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been hitting really hard for 2, 3, 4 years. In the past, in the Biden administration, it was always, this is unconstitutional, this is irritating, this is angering. Now what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
And if you don't add that last step of what we're going to do about it, what are we doing? What's happening? What are we accomplishing? How are we solving this problem? Because the one thing that I'm never going to do, and this is a thing, I've really spent a lot of time thinking about this. I'm not going to sit there and say, here's what you're going to see to be angry about today, and make sure you tune in tomorrow to see what you're going to be angry about tomorrow. That's not productive. It doesn't solve a problem, right. And it puts you in a doom loop. It's like, look at all the things that we have accomplished. Let's go zoom back into the Second Amendment community. In the last 10 years, God, the last 5 years, the amount of Supreme Court cases that were accepted, that were taking up, the DOJ actually putting in amicus briefs, the amount of wins that we're having is a generational opportunity. Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, but they still want to take our guns away, so I'm still pissed. Like, yeah, be pissed. What are you going to do to leverage that? Like, use it as a driving force. That's not the end destination, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right. I hear that a lot, and it tends... The people that I hear that from, it tend to be, I don't want to age anybody, but it tends to be older people, gun owners, who don't really know what to do, but they are still angry and they enjoy being angry about all the gun restrictions.
Oh,
get
Dan,
off my lawn, you know?
Oh, you're stepping in it. Let's go.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Braden.
Oh, no, you got this. I'm excited. I'm giddy over here. You stepped in it. I didn't. Let's go.
Because I think what happens is the way our brains work is that we get into a mode. Some people are extremely happy all the time. I mean, happy to the point where you want to slap them.
Right.
But that's just the way they're set up, right? That's the way they've conditioned their brain. Some people are pissed off all the time, and hey, I understand gun laws are very frustrating because, as far as I'm concerned, every gun law is an infringement on the Second Amendment. But you could say to people, yeah, but did you see what happened in Brewer? Did you see what Judge Clarence Thomas said about this historical tradition? This is going to change everything. Yeah, but you know,
no, they don't want solutions. Right? It's like the Trump accounts. Everybody's because it says Trump on them. I'm like, do you realize how much this could change the lives of like every person in the country?
Oh, the Trump,
it's insanity. And they're like, well, you know, it's got to be some ulterior motive and this and that and everything else. And I'm just like, just don't put the name on it. Just look at what the issue is anyway.
Well, another thing, when I talk about the older people, I don't want to bash older people because it's not at all old, but I do know that I'll speak sometimes at gun clubs and stuff like that, and we'll do whatever we're talking about, New York State gun laws and things like that. And a lot of times it tends to be the younger guys who are like, yeah, well, this is good. Let's try to change that. I wish we could do this. Okay, that's great. And they're seem to have more productive mind. But a lot of times, not every time, but sometimes the old timers are like, I don't care. I don't have time for that. I'm too old for that. I'm not going to fight for, all I need is my shotgun so I can go hunting and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the problem because you just want to be grumpy and angry, and you don't
they're
really
living in
want
a
to do
world with
anything.
2 or 3 generations of people who have been told exactly the opposite of all that, so they don't see the point of fighting. But Braden, one thing you brought up made me think is that a lot of my friends on the left comment repeatedly, and what it shows me is that they think that people on the right get their marching orders from Trump every day.
So not true.
Oh,
We actually
100%.
oppose him on a lot of stuff.
And it's not only that, but I keep explaining to them, I go, look, I have things that I care about. When I'm going to look at a candidate, I go find a candidate that reflects what my concerns are, and that's the person that I may or may not support. And even if I support them, that doesn't mean I agree with everything they say, and it doesn't mean I'm going to, not express my concerns along the way. But that's not how we work. I don't get a newsletter every morning telling me how to think.
Trump
what to
says do this.
Yeah, yeah.
protesters must,
I'll tell you, you're hitting on something amazing because the idea that there's this big Donald Trump holds a meeting every single morning and tells everyone on the right what to think, and I'm like, guys. You guys on the left, you pesky lefties, you like to project a whole lot. And since we're talking about morning meetings and talking points and emails, I've noticed that all your pundits and every single politician always say the exact same 3 words and the exact same cadence at the exact same time on every single talking point issue. That is weird. You guys aren't projecting again, are you? You wouldn't do that, would you?
Yeah, that's a good
But you have a
point.
very valid point. Like it's so wild. That trope, that kind of joke, the meme that's like, oh, Democrats accused us of being all in the same hive mind. They must be a hive mind, right? It's like whatever the Democrats do, they accuse us of doing, right? It's like, wait a minute, that sounds oddly vaguely familiar.
Well, when you don't understand what projection is, you're projecting your own thoughts on other. When you don't understand the concept, it's easy to. We can watch people do it all the time, and they don't even know they're doing it. But let me go to Braden. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back here with Braden Langley, and we're going to take a short break for our sponsors.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
Our founding fathers saw them coming over 200 years away. That's why they wrote the Second Amendment. Join us in the fight to preserve your gun rights and stop unconstitutional gun control. Gun Owners of America is the country's only no-compromise gun rights organization. Not only do we inform and educate, but we bring the fight to court and win. Your God-given right to keep and bear arms is our top priority. Become a member today and help us take back America. Join us at gunowners.org.
All right, we're here with Braden Langley, and we're having a great conversation. Braden, I want to shift gears just a little bit because there's this topic that I want to talk about. Not that what we're talking about isn't exciting and fun. It really is necessary that we open that discussion as well. But Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett says her son, 12 years old, asked why she had a bulletproof vest after the Dobbs leak. Okay. I know you did a show on this because I watched it and it was great. You had some great views on this whole thing. We're talking about violence from the political left. We're talking about these red flag laws or actually we're talking about swatting, which eventually turned into red flag laws. But swatting was the initial tactic used by the left against gun owners to get gun owners in trouble. So now they're swatting Supreme Court justices. What can you tell us about this? What are some of the key points that you would like to talk about this particular topic?
You know, that one was it's an interesting one because it set off a firestorm, right? The internet immediately went to resign now, recuse yourself from anything and everything, get off the bench. You can't handle, you can't hack it, you can't do these things. And of course, the internet is always, you're going to find the most extreme opinions immediately. If you want to hear the most extreme opinions in the world, open X. I mean, on anything, like just open up any social media outlet, you're going to find the most extreme opinion possible. It's like, I mean, anyway, but the thing about this is it speaks to 2 or 3 different pieces to this. Marco Rubio, I'm not sure if you guys have actually seen it yet. Marco Rubio is doing a entire little international community kind of get together around the threats of Antifa and far left violence. Right. He's putting all these organizations in the exact same room and all these countries in the same room, talking about our combined issue about transnational, anti-government, anti-Western civilization, far left, socialist, communist, crazy people. Mm-hmm. And it ties into this directly. Because if you look at everything that you're seeing, the left is using political violence as a tool of intimidation. Now, very unwise, considering they're poking the biggest, most well-armed bear on the planet, but they're still doing it. It's that poke the bear once and hope for the reaction.
I think it goes back to I think it goes back to the ignorance that John was talking about. Maybe they don't think that there's ever going to be any backlash or something. They don't think that they're going to have to pay any consequence.
Well, they're hoping for the backlash, though. That's the game. You see this anywhere. Right. You see it in the gun world. You see it in the broad political space. They constantly poke, and then when you react, it's your fault for reacting. And the story is now you reacted versus all the antagonism that was going on. Right? It's a 100% provocateur approach. But when you look at specifically the Amy Coney Barrett situation, I don't blame her for being scared for her family. Right? Maybe that's a crazy hot take. Right? It's like, whoa, how could I say that? Because I'm a human.
I agree.
Everyone is a human. We all have families. Like, well, not all of us, but a lot of us have families, right? So, of course, that's a consideration. But my natural gut reaction on this is not to say, oh, you're afraid for your children because far left crazies who have openly assassinated people, have killed CEOs in the street, have burned entire buildings down, entire cities down because they didn't like something politically for the last 5 to 6 years. You're afraid for your family with that? Right. Not to mention attempted to assassinate the president twice. So you're telling me that you're afraid for that? What's wrong with you? No, I think the question is, if you're not afraid for that, what's wrong with you? Like, this is a very genuine concern that we deal with in our current society because the lefties have melted their brains. I'm not talking about everyday Democrats. I'm talking about the far left ones. Like the blue hair septum ring wearing ones. Those guys, that crowd. The protest 24/7 because I'm up happy with, something. But when you look at Amy Coney Barrett in that scenario, the answer, in my opinion, and I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on this, is not to say, hey, you need to no longer be a jurist. You can't be a Supreme Court because you're afraid for your family. No, the question should be, how much protection can we give these people because they're doing what they need to do? They need to be properly insulated from that violence and threat in order to do their jobs appropriately. Because if you leave them out to dry, you're opening a scenario to where they can be influenced by violence. If they don't feel that and they are insulated in a protective envelope, that won't be a concern. So this is just my take on it. It's kind of like what we're talking about. If you look a little further and you look at the overall environment, what are we going to do to prevent this from being a problem versus just, hey, you need to be tougher. We all have risks. Suck it up. That's not the right answer.
I agree with you because I think a normal person would tend to be influenced by this violence because you're fearing for your life. I mean, of course, it's the most harsh form of leverage that you could use on a person. And I think you'd have to be, I don't know what kind of person you have to be to not let that bother you. It would bother me. That's why I carry a gun. But
I just have a little bit more of a vindictive streak. I was like, oh yeah, leftist violence.
Well, yeah, right.
And how many decisions did you have available for me? Okay, so we have loss. Enjoy that.
Well, exactly. Too. I would tend to be a little defiant In the same way,
Well,
I
right,
would say,
that's what I
okay,
mean.
well, that's the way you want to play. Okay, well, then I'll take this position on these cases here.
Right.
But yeah, but I mean, she is a woman, and I don't blame
What is
her.
a woman, though, Dan? Like, what
Well,
is a woman, though? Have we really identified that yet?
We haven't yet on this
Is
show.
she
I
a
don't think-
birthing person? I think she might be a birthing person.
If a uterus doesn't matter either, apparently, I guess. I don't know. This is a new thing.
Still have a
You know,
period.
what is a uterus these days, anyway? We're already going to blot out the sun because global warming and sunburn. So why not? Why not re-identify everything else?
Oh,
The
man.
wildest thing. We live in the wildest timeline ever. I just want to say.
What's unbelievable, it really is unbelievable. If someone came, to the future from the 1950s and just the
gosh.
average guy, you and me me and John back in the 50s, what are our priorities back then? Going to the local, ice cream shop to meet our girlfriend or going to the sock hop, right?
I'm going.
I guess.
I am going to every single Ace Hardware store when they start, and I'm going to get every single Colt Python and put it in a gun safe.
Exactly.
Exactly.
In bulk. That's what I'm going to do. I don't know about you. But
Buy Apple and
big ones.
Microsoft
not the
stuff
small
when it
ones,
comes
like
out.
the big ones.
Great.
But imagine, so you got your little job at the hardware store, you're working at the local hardware store, or the grocery store, or
Yeah.
whatever, and they fast forward you. They put you in 2026, and you have to navigate your way through this insanity. Could you imagine what that would do to the human brain?
Oh, man, could you imagine being that tour guide, the acclimation expert? Okay, Mr. Sock Hop from 1950s. As you can see right over here, we have 3 humans. We have 1 birthing person. We have a ficus right there. And then we have a human who identifies as a dog and uses a cat box. Right. What the hell?
It's weird. Well, I just saw.
Oh, yeah, and that's the weird couple over there. They're heterogeneous, and they reproduce.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're not the norm anymore.
They believe in natural rights and stuff. That's bizarre. Oh, man.
So funny. Just all the things. Boy, you open up a whole world of stuff. I mean,
Listen, you said 1 hour, and I was like, is that it? Let's go. Let's have some fun.
But Amy Coney
Yeah,
Barrett.
sorry.
So she said she carried the bulletproof vest into her house, put it into her bedroom, dropped it down on the table, turned around, and her 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of her bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why she had it. Well, again, this 12-year-old kid is like the 50 sock hop guy coming to 2026. He doesn't understand that someone would want to kill his mom for making a decision as a court justice. It's just we've come so far with this violent attitude, political violence, I should say, that it's amazing. It really is amazing. And we I don't know. Are we going to be able to unwind this thing, or what's going to happen here? Civil war? I don't know.
No. So that's one of the favorite things that a lot of people online want. It's a flashpoint. It's a sexy little conversation of like,
Sure.
ooh, Civil War 2.0. No, I genuinely do not believe we are at that point. And this is why I say that. I mean, a lot of people will disagree with me, but I'll back it up with here's my thoughts on it. And you guys bounce this off. You talk about it. We are already beyond the point of a even split 50-50 countries going down the tubes, not going down the tubes. You're watching all this far lefty extremism because they're losing the argument and they're losing the country and they're losing electorally and they're losing in the people of just population. People are leaving their states en masse. Companies are leaving their states en masse. Finances leaving their states en masse. And in 2030, I don't know if you're aware, but the Electoral College is going to reapportion. And when that happens, they're losing 7 different Electoral College votes, and they're losing 14 seats in the House as of right now based on population moves. So you're looking at the death throes of the far left ideology in the country, and they're only going to get louder and more intense. That's not a civil war. That's an isolated pocket of crazy.
Danny,
and they
what
wouldn't
did
do that.
Danny, what did he say in Almost Famous? This you're the death rattle. What was that?
Oh, you'll meet them all again in the long journey to the middle?
Well, you'll meet them all again in Long Journey to the Middle, but you made it just in time for the death rattle.
Yeah. And it's the early 70s.
But so that time frame though, and that's what I was about to go into, which is a perfect segue. That time frame that we're in the 70s is just like now. You're watching if anything's a 2.0, it's the hippies 2.0. They've just gotten more vocal, and they've had social media, which extrapolates their entire viewpoint. But not their viewpoint, extrapolates their volume. That's it. It's the exact same behaviors, it's the exact same norms, it's the same standards, and you see politicians on the left kowtowing to it and placating to it. But one of the dead giveaways is how fast they're moving from topic to topic. I don't know if you've noticed this, going back directly to our world in this a little bit, they've completely abandoned the gun control push. Have you noticed that? You haven't heard a word about gun control from the media. You haven't heard a word about gun control from gun controlling politicians. That is a mainstay topic. Chris Murphy hasn't mentioned the word gun control in 3 years.
Right.
I mean,
and
why?
J.P. Pritzker, what's his name?
J.B. Pritzker, yeah.
J.D. Pritzker. He's not talking about the 50 caliber guns that can take out helicopters.
Look at the why. Why would they do that? Yeah. They spent 4 years as that's all they talked about.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it doesn't exist because they're shifting narratives and they're shifting viewpoints because they're losing. That's what going back to the beginning part of this conversation, from the Amy Coney Barrett part to the talking points part to all the conversation that we've had so far. It's all rooted in the idea that they are resorting to the most extreme outcomes, the most extreme actions, because they are losing in the court of public opinion. They are losing this conversation. You have all the stats, you have all the support, you have all the proof you need to prove their points wrong. Yeah. So they're moving them around. They're shifting the goalposts. They're trying to figure out what works. The border and immigration, they got smoked. Gun control, smoked. Inflation, smoked. I mean, literally everything that they've gone down the road of for the last 3 or 4 years,
that's true,
is smoked. Transgenderism, that worked out well.
Yeah, that's true. You got a very optimistic view on it, and I appreciate that, because you're right. I mean, look at some of the firearm cases. Look at Bruin, for instance. I mean, and now we got 2 cases going up to the Supreme Court for semi-automatic rifles and
for ARs.
Yeah, this is great stuff when you really think about it. And you're right. I think they've hit the wall to a point where they don't really know how to deal with it anymore. So I think they're scrambling to a certain extent. I think you're right.
I mean, to me, if I had a dream, and we alluded to this, and wherever, I'm having a great time in this conversation. This is awesome. The point at which we're at right now is such an amazing opportunity. I mean, an amazing opportunity. When you're talking about our country in general, incredible opportunity. When you're talking about the gun world in general, I have this vision for the gun world because there are no better warriors out there for our rights than the Second Amendment advocates. I don't care. Pick any other special interest group in the conservative alignment. You can pick abortion, you can pick immigration, you can pick money policy, foreign policy. It doesn't matter. Any group holds no candle to the Second Amendment. Right. Our advocacy and our collective power that we have with all of our talking points, our media, our distribution, our knowledge on the topics, the support from the Supreme Court with recent rulings, it's unmatched. And the second that we start to realize that we were the punching bags and the pincushions for the Democrats and the leftists for 10, 15, 20 years, and now they're trying to do it to the general population, and we move out and say, hey, we did this before, here's how you beat it, we'll be unstoppable. Well, we will be the force that saves the country.
And I agree with you. And you know what the irony of that all is that the reason we're so strong is because they made us strong.
Oh, they pounded us into steel, man.
Exactly. They pounded us into steel. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. And now they've created a monster that they won't defeat us, and they won't defeat the Second Amendment. Yeah, we're going to have some battles, and we're going to be back and forth in court. But we're starting to see some results. You know, McDonald, Bruin, all these cases.
Well, so many on the left, though, don't even understand that these cases exist.
Right.
They think that it's just a bunch of people yelling and screaming at each other and arguing, and we're all stupid and they're all smarter than us for some reason. They don't understand any of the underlying. So, like he said, that we're going to be the ones that are going to make the difference in the world in the next 20 years because things are going on. We're doing stuff. We have strategies to make things happen. That's the point.
I'll be devil's advocate on that, and I'll say that we don't know the insides of all their voter fraud. Their voter fraud is a complex system, and we're ignorant to that, which I hope Republicans are getting smarter now, and I think we are. Braden, you could probably comment on that, but yeah, you're right. They don't really understand all the inner workings of these Second Amendment cases and how the Second Amendment is
They're just responding emotionally, and they feel, you know, I belong to the Moms Demand Action group on Facebook, and it's just every day, it's just insanity. One thing after another. I'm like, where do you live? Like, what kind of life do you have?
Well, you're in the belly of the beast there.
It's crazy.
Well, the
right
comment
into the
section is
deep end of
99%. The comment section is 99% against them. I never see positive on.
It's always a joke. They're always making telling them they're idiots.
It's always gun owners just shooting them down. I don't think they really have the support. Obviously, go ahead, Braden. Sorry.
Oh, it's 100% astroturfed. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
go ahead.
You can, if you want proof of that. By the way, just for fun, if you want proof of that, you can look at all their X accounts and their YouTube channels and all their Instagram accounts. They have like 1.5 million followers, 1.10 million follower, 1 point whatever follow, and like 4 people comment. It's like something makes no sense there.
Yeah. No, definitely. Hey, let me get to one of our sponsors real quick, and we can continue this great conversation with Braden Langley. This device, the Cali Key, removes your AR from the definition of assault weapon. So did you know that when so-called assault weapon ban lists are created, they exclude manually operated bolt-action firearms? So just by dropping this Cali Key into your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you'll have a bolt-action rifle that falls outside the definition of assault weapon. You don't need to do anything else. So give the Cali Key a look, because with it, you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, enhance long-range precision and quieter suppressed shooting. Cali Key has state-specific expert attorney opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. Cali Key's mission is to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So go to CaliKey.com and use the discount code LOADED. All right, so Braden, take it away. Where do you want to wrap up on this Amy Coney Barrett?
Honestly, to me, I think that conversation concludes very naturally and very easily. Insulate our justices, because the leftist crazies are being indoctrinated and they can always find someone to respond to the rhetoric. Insulate them properly, and we won't have this issue. I mean, it really is that simple. We have the greatest country in the world. We have a tremendous tax base of which we can apply all of the law enforcement we need. Let's do that. If the court justices feel a certain kind of way of vulnerability, then let's go ahead and protect them en masse. How about we do the old 2-envelope protection system? I'm fine with that. How about we make it a standard? If you walk up in an aggressive way towards any Supreme Court justice's house, you have a very good conversation with the outer envelope, and you don't want to get to the inner envelope. I mean, there are ways that we can do this, but I don't think that the knee-jerk reaction of she's not fit to be on the bench is the right one. Just like any other reaction, if you go to the most extreme, most emotional reaction first, you're going to end up doing more harm to your cause than good. Insulate them properly, protect them, make them feel comfortable to do their job objectively, and we'll save this country. That's the way I see it. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I don't think they should be. I think we should insulate them not only to protect their lives, but to help them feel safe, because they can't be intimidated, because we don't want that to influence the way they make decisions. And
that was the whole idea of constructing the court the way they did, is to make them so that they weren't going to be influenced.
Yeah. All right, so we are here with Braden Langley, and we're having a great conversation about all sorts of stuff. But Braden, I wanted to talk to you about this. And everybody's talking about this Canadian girl who comes to America. She obviously hates the country. I don't know why she was here in the first place. She smacks this young teenage girl because she's wearing patriotic clothes, like I think it was a 250 celebration shirt or whatever it was. And she ends up getting she's in ICE custody now, as far as I know. Canadian woman who slapped a teenager at the Jersey Shore because she didn't like the girl's MAGA clothing was arrested by ICE and brought to Delaney Hall in Newark. Newark's a lovely place this time of year, by the way. The very immigration detention center her lefty husband has railed about on social media. This is from our friends at New York Post. Do we have a photo? I think we have a photo of her. That's her and her boyfriend, who was actually trying to raise money on GoFundMe to help.
She doesn't look like a Democrat.
No, of course not.
She doesn't look at all like a leftoid. No.
Braden, what are your thoughts on this?
It's just more stupid on full display. I mean, so let's just walk through this objectively. Let's walk past all the signs that we can analyze what's going on. You go into someone else's country.
Yeah.
You go up to an individual. You espouse no violence. Silence is violence. Words are violence. All this crap is violence. And then naturally, because you disagree with the political expression, you obviously go and you violently attack somebody. I mean, obviously, that's the natural outflow of those ideologies. And then you get real upset when you get caught because you assaulted somebody and you're not in the. I mean, like, did you want to miss all the off ramps, or did you intentionally just go 100 on the Autobahn and then you're surprised you crashed?
I guess my question is, where does the entitlement? How is the entitlement created? Like, you come from Canada. Canada's turning into a communist country, as far as I'm concerned. The nonsense that's happening there, and the way the Muslims are like overtaking everything. You come to America. How do they get this entitlement, this sense of entitlement to do this stuff? I don't get it.
Well, it's because there's no, can I say something off the cuff? Something real crazy?
Whatever the hell you want.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. You made a mistake just then, Dan. Okay. So I genuinely believe we are missing a key part of socialization in our current socialization schedule and plan of children and teenagers.
Unpack that.
Because, that thing that we all know, we have the common experience, most likely, all three of us do, that when you mouth off to the wrong person, you get punched. And then you don't do it anymore.
Right.
So when we've removed that natural consequence for your ass hattery, well, are you surprised? Life's always going to kick you in the teeth. Whether you get kicked in the teeth early because you stepped over someone, or you do it later in life when you're slapping teenagers in America because you're a Canadian, life's always going to kick you in the teeth. I'm 10 years into my 30s, so when I was growing up, Halloween was an iffy. Like, you had to really put it out there. Like, you want to do what on Halloween? Walk me through that. No. I need a lot of details before I sign off on this. Right now, it's like, it's a Tuesday. Okay. Right. I mean, when I was in high school, the big questionable thing was skinny jeans. I mean, mostly questionable because why would you ever do that? Or girl jeans, dudes in girl jeans. I was like, I don't understand that for the life of me. If only I knew where we were going. I had logistical questions. Let's just put it that way. But then as we continue on this road, it's like, okay, y'all. I mean, where are we going? What's happening right now? But I will tell you, and I'm loving seeing this. There is a natural correction that is happening online. Like mocking people for absolute crazy is back. I mean, it is back, and it's starting to pick up steam. But it's coming back, man. I'm telling you, nature is reverting. It's returning back to its natural state.
Yeah, and that's good. I think some of our elected employees should see some consequence too for some of the laws that they're signing. For instance, our New York State governor, she's signing into all sorts of nonsense into law because she can. She's got the legislature behind her.
Oh yeah.
But there's no consequence for these people. Just after, I talk about this all the time. Right after the Bruin case, she signs into law the Concealed Carry Improvement Act, which was just all the same crap, but worse.
Different name, different rules, right?
Yeah. 8 days after the Bruin decision came out, this was ready to go. So there's no consequence in for kids, and there's no consequence for politicians. So
See, I actually have a different take on that.
go ahead.
If I may, of course. I don't want
Of
to.
course.
This goes back to that same thing that we've been talking about, the broad picture versus the finite, minute picture, right? The macro versus the micro. Like when you look back in the conversation that we've just had so far, we've hit on a lot of fun things. We've had a lot of great topics. We've had a really good conversation around a bunch of different facets that all point to the exact same direction. Everything is reverting. You just have to lean into the bigger picture, the strategy, and executing to save the country, right? Yeah. So if you look at something that you just said, and I think this is an incredibly important point, there's no consequence. We hear that all the time in the gun world, all the time. I'm pissed off because they break the rules, they break the Constitution, they infringe on the Second Amendment, there's no consequences, and they just keep on doing it. I mean, you would agree, that is a well-known frustration of everyone in our space, right?
Sure. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So what if I told you they weren't experiencing the short-term backhand, but they were experiencing their own version of that Canadian woman who slapped the American kid, right? So if you look at what I mentioned earlier, they're about to lose apportionment for the United States Census in 2030. I keep on hitting on this. The magnitude of the amount of people that have left blue states and the amount of money that has left blue states, they're going to collapse under their own weight. That is the ultimate punishment, right? Because they're going to lose enough electoral college states, or electoral college votes in the next presidential election in 2032, where if they get the blue wall, which is that upper band right there of Michigan, Ohio, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, if they get all of that, they have to pick up more states. Well, that is a massive shift from the last 30 to 40 years electorally. That normally Democrats have to win those 3 states, and then they pick up Pennsylvania and they win the entire thing. Well, now it's not enough because the population is leaving. These policies, these infringements, all of this stuff is strangling them out of the number one most important thing that they rely on, which is people. Yeah. People are moving away from Colorado. They're moving away from California. They're going to Texas. They're going to Florida. They're going to Georgia. They're going to all these different states with the booming economies, with the pro-business economies, with the pro-freedom economies, with the pro-freedom statutes. And they are being left in the dust, which is why they have all of these huge overbloated budgets, which is why people are leaving and they're concentrating the crazy. They're dealing with the consequences of their decision. Only it's even more fun for me to watch because it's every single day. It's always a new, it's not good enough. Why are you doing it bad? Why don't we have any money? Why don't we have jobs? It's the best thing in the world because enjoy your slow death politically, of course.
Yeah, well, I agree. And I think the reason they need illegal immigration is to refill those states.
The voids.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And we'll have to do, because now we're in the process of a lot of electoral college, a lot of the redistricting changes and stuff. We'll have to do we can do a whole show on that.
Oh yeah.
That would be a real interesting show, but we do have to, we got to wrap it up. Braden, but thanks. It was great having you, man. We got to do it again. Yeah. And there's so much more we could talk about. But so let's start with, tell everybody where they can find you and what you're doing these days. What's your call to action, so to speak?
The CTA would be simple. You first of all, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, which is Braden Langley. I just changed it to my name, right? It's literally just my name. Could not be simpler to find me in that position. But get involved and understand you're bigger than just the one thing. Make sure to save that one thing, you can go broad. And if the army of the Second Amendment unleashes, you not only save your item, you save everyone's items. Get involved. I don't care about the outrage monster. I don't care about the clickbait. I don't care about the come back tomorrow for how angry you're going to be. Get involved and kick ass and save the country. That's what I would say.
Braden, thanks so much. John, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. It was great. That was good.
And thank you for watching The Loaded Mic on Rumble, YouTube, and all our podcast networks and the Spreely Network at Spreely.com. My name is Dan Wass, and remember, the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.